The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of any affiliated organizations, employers, or sponsors. This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered professional advice.
Hello, Janki. Welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
Hello, Rajat. Hello, Rishi. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming on. Janki, I think within our circles, you're like a social media queen. At
Oh
least,
my
yeah.
God,
From
no.
I think Rishi can always Rishi can also attest to
Appropriate
that.
phrase, all capital letters.
Yeah. As in, I think you do things on social media that I didn't even know there were like features like that, especially on Instagram. So I think my first question to you is like, what's your relationship with social media?
Um, Thank you for calling me a social media queen, though I would not think that. But I think for me, it's so weird because I think and I say this so many times to people, like I have a love-hate relationship with social media. Um, I think I really used to like it first, and then I made a career out of it, so now I hate it. It's weird, but yeah, it's sort of now become this thing where it's like work. So I don't think I enjoy it as much as I used to before.
Right. So I mean, you mentioned the career aspect of it. Could you maybe expand a bit more on what exactly that is?
Sure. I started digital marketing, more like, yeah, it more social media marketing in 2020 once I graduated from uni, because we all graduated in the worst of the time where there was nothing, no jobs for us. So it was actually really popular then, where a lot of companies started looking into social media marketing, which makes sense considering how COVID really took a hit on businesses and stuff. So it was a good time when I joined with social media, and it did gain a lot of popularity then and now as well. But so I did start social media marketing from 2020, and I'm still doing it 5 years later. And it's just, yeah, marketing for businesses online through social media platforms.
And was there like something that made it click that this is something you would be interested in? Maybe like a certain moment or like a certain like marketing campaign?
Uh, well, not a certain marketing campaign, but in second year of uni, second year of uni summer, I worked in it was more a PR firm actually in London. And it's weird because I was doing speech and language sciences, but during my course as well, I kind of saw that I might not go into this, but it was not confirmed that, like, I still said I'm going to continue and of course do a master's into speech and language to become a speech therapist. And then in second year of uni, I did a market. I don't know why I chose it actually, and I don't know how. I can't remember why I did choose, but it was just that thing where you have the long summer, you're looking for things, and I think I was kind of interested in social media a little, I would say, which made me choose it, I think. But it wasn't, I didn't enter it thinking that, yeah, I would make a career. I just wanted it, for work, internship and a way to spend summer. And I did it and I loved it. Like, it was incredible. I wouldn't say it was much of what I'm doing now. It just kind of got me into that world of social media marketing, PR, all of that kind of stuff. And then I went back to uni, of course. And then I continued to do an internship here in Nairobi as well with a marketing company. And I kind of took it to part time to London as well. And then once I came back, I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm gonna do now. And then one of my family members was like, we need social media for our company. And since you're back home and kind of, still looking for work, and if you're free, would you mind doing social media for our company? And I'm like, yeah, I'm free, might as well. Oh, there's no harm in doing it. So I took that up, and at that time it was really booming, like I said. So because of social media, because of COVID, everyone was looking for social media people. So when I started my family members company social media, and I started doing it, and their followers or their friends and family started seeing, and they're like, whoa, we're loving your Instagram and all of that, who's doing it? So it was funny because then I started getting more clients just through referrals like that. And I think in 4 months I had about 4 to 5 clients, which I wasn't expecting because I thought I was just going to do it as a temporary thing until I find out what to actually do, and kind of wait until COVID goes, because I still was thinking of the masters for speech and language therapy. But that didn't make sense because of COVID. I was like, there's going to be, in online learning, which doesn't make sense for that kind of course. So I just carried on, and then from there I think it just went on, and I never did the masters, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think I want to do that now. And here I am still doing social media 5 years later.
Yeah, so I mean, actually, so that's really interesting. So like, when you were helping with your family members' company, and you said managing the social media, what exactly does that like entail?
Oh, like what it included. So it included obvious. So it's funny because there's always memes that you see as being whenever you call yourself a social media marketer. There's so many memes in the social media marketing world where we're doing all kinds of roles. It includes being a photographer, a videographer, graphic design, content creation, copywriting. So I was doing all of those things. I used to take photos, I used to take videos, I used to edit them, make the reels, uh, make graphic posters. So started going into designing in that sense. Um, you do the copy of everything, and yeah, and a lot of, even then, going into ads, a lot of ad insights, and working into learning those. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so like, would you
a
say
lot.
like you're quite an artistic person, because it clearly involves a lot of creativity on a
Yeah,
daily
I
basis?
I I would say that I am artistic, or not artistic, but I do, and a lot of people tell me this, but I do think there is a certain eye that you have to have, or at least I have a certain aesthetic that I would like for it. It doesn't have to be like my aesthetic, but whenever I get a company, I have to come up with a certain aesthetic that I want the company to look like, just so that, it doesn't look like you're marketing a different company every day within the same company. You kind of have to follow a whole theme or a brand, which again comes into social media, where you make a whole brand kit, brand, image, all of those things. So I think it's more about having that certain aesthetic more than artistic, but I guess they do tie in together. Um, yeah, it is work coming up with a certain look for whatever you're marketing. But I think once you get that, then it kind of becomes easy. So then I wouldn't say it's so much of artistic. It's then just following the theme that you've built and the look you've built.
Yeah, that makes sense. So like, I guess each company has a specific theme that then all the social media stuff like follows, right? So like, how would
Yes.
you like decide on what that theme should be?
Yeah, I think actually that's probably one of the hardest parts, is just trying to, and that takes a bit of a while. It's, sometimes people think like, yeah, you can do this. Can you come up with a theme? And I'm like, that'll take me some time. It doesn't come up in like a day or so. I think I usually take more than a week or so, because it's just a lot of inspo. I think just looking at what other people are doing in that sense, in that field of whatever company it is, and that's the thing again with social media, is trends. like we're going in a world where something can be trending for literally a week and then it's out. So trying to keep up with those trends or following up, with what's in and what's outdated, it becomes more difficult as we move forward. Um, but then again, that's the thing as well. You kind of have to make sure when you're coming up with the brand, a theme or look, that you're kind of looking for something timeless and not fitting in with so much of the trends, where then you're completely ever changing your brand every few weeks, which then someone would find hard to keep up. So you kind of have to look for something that's, timeless, that works, and that's the thing as well. When you're working with different companies of different fields, it can be so different. Like one company would, need completely corporate type of very professional look. Another company would be super fun, quirky, funky. So it takes some time to inspo, but then just depending on the type of voice that the company wants to give out, then I start working on, okay, what are our audiences, or who are we marketing to, and what kind of vibe is the company looking for, and then from there go on and just try and make up my own things.
Okay, so Janki, again, that's pretty cool, because it takes quite a architect's mind to come up with designs. Something I wanted to ask you is, how do you get more people to look at your posts, and what social media are you talking about? Because there's a wide range, right?
Yeah, there
So
is.
just those two things.
There really is a lot of social media. And so for me, I started with the standard social media platforms, in the sense of Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn a little, not so much, because this, again, LinkedIn really depends on the type of company that you would market for. Some people where it makes sense to have on LinkedIn, some not. Um, Twitter, Threads, and not so much. And then there's YouTube and all of those, which I've not got into, so I wouldn't know so much on those. But I think for what makes people look at your post more, it's that's a really hard question. And I think 5 years ago when I started, it wouldn't have been as difficult as is it today, because with social media and how fast things are growing within the social media world, be it any app. um, Things are like every app wants to progress in their own way, trying to be the number one app. And so they keep trying to, compete with the other apps and come up with these new algorithms and things like that. And it's becoming really, really difficult. But I think the one thing that stays when you're trying to market your brand or something is just stay authentic. And as much as like it's a trend, but right now especially, I think because of the overload of apps and information that people are getting to, make your page be seen, I think a lot of people are tuning in more to now the more authentic, the more um, personal, or where you're like you're not trying to do too much to be
But what
this.
about sorry? So then, like, okay, with that, looking at things like hashtags, using say trending TikTok songs, those types of things, how much does that play a part into actually getting your videos out there?
I think they definitely do help. Like hashtags and trending audios and things will help you in that sense to boost. But then it's not, it has to be also the content that is inside of those hashtags and trending audio, right? Like if you put a great song and great hashtags, but your video is so boring, or sometimes it's not even boring. Like now people want quick, easy information to read. Now you have a video that's with so much of text that someone is like, nope, don't have the time, and they'll quickly scroll past your video, whether it has the trending audio. Um, so it's really onto what your content has. So that's what I think a lot of people are trying to now do, or people are moving towards. As when I say people, it's more in terms of like creators and businesses are really trying to go personal. So there's this whole thing of even where you go to see on TikTok. TikTok is now used as the very casual, fun app. So a lot of businesses and brands, including like luxury brands and stuff, are having their accounts on Instagram and TikTok. And I think when people first started it, they would kind of using the same content across both platforms, like in terms of reels, trending audio, hashtag, same video on TikTok and same video on Instagram. And then people realize, no, actually, this is not working because people are on TikTok to laugh, have fun. Like, no one wants to see serious stuff on TikTok. Um, so even if you look at a luxury brand, they're having such funny TikToks as their actual brand, like being posted, is very like unhinged content. And that's what's getting them the reach because it's kind of what people like watching. So a lot is even on what kind of app are you on? What are the people coming on there to look at? It's like saying like you wouldn't go on LinkedIn and start posting funny memes and things like that, right? Because people on LinkedIn are looking for more serious stuff, and you wouldn't go on TikTok posting your resume or things like that. It's I think people have realized now is like reaching out to your audience in the way they want to, not the way you want to. Um, what is your audience looking for, and why should they look at your page even being on that app?
Yeah, that's really interesting because I've noticed that quite a bit in the last like couple of years where especially for a lot of companies now their social media is a lot more is less corporate and more like personal. So they'll and whoever's in charge of like their admin will start like, maybe sometimes they post memes, they
Yeah,
make posts that aren't really seen as like traditional,
yeah,
serious business
like
like
a company
posts.
that's just come to my mind is like Ryanair. I don't know if you've seen Ryanair social
Yeah,
media,
yeah,
but
exactly. They start like
Duolingo as
roasting
well.
passengers. Yeah, Duolingo as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Duolingo had
exactly.
this whole thing where the owl got viral and they were doing really funny, unhinged TikToks. And you're just like, but they're keeping the people engaged. They're getting the views. They're getting people like, oh my God, this is so good. So I think it was, yeah, I think it was in the start when I remember starting maybe about a year and a half ago, and people were like social media managers need to really look into like what Duolingo is doing or what Ryanair is doing because they were killing it. Like they were just doing really funny stuff. Yeah, like you said, roasting passengers, and you wouldn't think an airline company would do those kind of content, but it was really working for them.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's really like fascinating to see. Like, and then they reply to other companies' tweets, for example, or posts, and they
Exactly. So
they
that's
throw
another
shade at
thing
each
is
other
like,
and stuff like that. Yeah,
yeah,
Like
that's
the
another thing.
Pepsi and Coca Cola memes. They're actually quite funny.
Yeah, so I think
yeah,
that's a new trend as well, is the whole interacting with other brands through social media in a very funny way, where they'd reply
yeah,
and they would, remix or du duet them, whatever you call, like there's different types on each app, but truly roasting everyone like live and just making it funny. Because I think that's what now social media has come to as well. In the start it became a very thing of yeah, let's market our business, let's put everything like super serious information out there people want. And I think with how times went, people started looking at social media as their kind of like free time, in the sense you don't want to go on social media and sometimes just see serious stuff. You kind of just want to have a laugh and then switch it off. It's kind of become like a bit of a, what would you say, like a leisure thing, right? Like how you'd switch on Netflix or something. People go on to scroll depending on whatever app you are on, be it YouTube or TikTok or Instagram. You sometimes just want to, not have to think too much when you're watching posts or reels or whatever it is. So I think a lot of businesses have started tapping into that or trying to, where you're like, you don't have to be super corporate, super serious on social media. So that does make it hard sometimes because you're like, I do kind of want to also market my company, and I also kind of have to fit in with being funny, and sometimes not all companies can be funny. So you really have to try, and that's the thing is, of course, there is that space as well. If you go on Instagram, there is, say, example, podcast. So like what you guys are doing, there are those people who are, talking serious stuff, which people do tap into and listen to as well, uh, even if they're on Instagram in their free time. It is kind of educational, it is informative, but it's just, I guess, how you have to, and you guys will know more as well, is kind of like what your audience really picks up on, and what they like listening to, what kind of topics, I guess, for you guys. It's and for everyone, I guess, on social media, is like, what do the people really want?
Like also another like funny thing about this whole like social media aspect is I've seen, for example, there'll be a lot of like individual people who will just post like random stuff online. So, but they'll have like a specific niche. So, for example, I don't know if you've seen, there's one like Indian guy. He became really viral for like pronouncing like names of like foreign food. So like
The
there's
croissant
one
guy.
where there's a picture of, yeah, the croissant and then Prashant, yeah. So instead of croissant, he said Prashant, and then it became really big. And then now he's like everywhere. He's like with Bollywood stars. He's with like the food delivery apps. He's got sponsorships with them, and he's doing.
It's crazy. I think, yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if it's sometimes with people with like luck or something, because you could get viral for the funniest, most randomest thing that you would not believe. And the next thing you know, you have like 3 million views.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's this other guy, is that another, I forget his name, but he posts like singing reels on Instagram, and like he's not good. Like he's not a good singer, but
Oh, I know
that's
this
the thing. Like
guy.
you like you're so bad that it's become viral. And then I just saw like a few months ago, like Maroon 5 went and performed in India, and he got like a shout out from Maroon 5, like he was in the concert, and then Maroon 5 was like, "Oh, this is the guy was singing our song." I was like, "How does that happen?" And now he's like with Bollywood like singers and stuff, and then he's performing at shows. Like he performs badly, like he's not a good singer, but he's so bad that he's like basically made himself like this meme. And I mean it's crazy. Yeah, about the algorithm. So you were speaking like a bit about the algorithm before. So I mean, that I feel like that's the big thing. Everyone on like social media, or at least like influencers and stuff, they talk about beating the algorithm. So like, I mean, from your expertise, how do you beat the algorithm?
Honestly, I think it was like a year and a half ago when I started seeing these algorithm things, and I started really stressing, because I'm like, I hate this app. I want to quit. I'm so tired of them keeping on bringing new things and changing things, and I'm like, I can't keep up. And this whole algorithm thing, it's really demotivating sometimes, especially when you're like, not for personal Instagram, but when you're doing, like companies Instagrams, and like 1 minute you were fine and you were getting the reach, and then the next minute something switched in the algorithm, and now like people are not seeing your posts, and you're just like, oh my god, like how much do I have to keep changing or trying for people to see the post, and like see, oh yes, change the hashtags, that will change the algorithm. Use trending audios, use keywords. I don't know, there's so much that goes on, but then sometimes I think for me, when I started doing it and it just became so confusing, I kind of just switched it off, and I was like, and that's what a lot of then social media managers or whoever on Instagram would try to be like, because there used to be a point where they're like, oh, you must post like 7 reels a week and 10 posts a week. And I'm just like, what the hell? Like, who can do that? Um, Whether you're trying to be an influencer or you're marketing a company, I think people started being like, that's a bit unrealistic and crazy, because even if you're being an influencer or something, your whole life, then you're just worried about what you're going to post for that many. days. And so people started really trying not to follow that and being like, look, just do what you're good at. And if you're consistent, I think the good thing with Instagram is consistency. Or maybe I don't know if it's the same with things like YouTube and things like that, but at least with Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, it's a bit of a weird app, but um at least with the others, as long as you're consistent in your content, and you're consistently, by consistent I don't mean posting 7 times a week or something like that, but just consistent in your niche, in your voice, and in whatever you're doing, and keeping up with your posts and the people, and engaging with what the people see, like in the sense of, now you've seen, okay, my audience really like that kind of a post, let me do more of that. Doesn't mean you just do that the whole time, because then people will get bored of it so easily. We'll like something once, twice, and then not. But just consistent in the sense of like making sure you're posting the right content and making sure that people are seeing it. At least, even if they see it, it's still a win. A lot of people get wrapped up in the likes and the number of followers and all of that, but sometimes it's not even that, because there's so many of times, I'm sure, like us as people, when you're scrolling, you like someone's post, but you may not immediately follow, or you'll watch it, but you won't like it just because. Sometimes people will, if you like something immediately, you like it, but sometimes you'll watch the whole thing, but you might not like it. Like the like button, I mean. So it's really weird because, yeah, people get really wrapped up around numbers, and a lot of people are now, going away from that. Is like, just do what you like and enjoy it, especially when you're maybe doing it for your personal or as an influencer or those kind of things, where you're really just trying to get something across and enjoy it, and make sure you're enjoying it as well, because then it kind of shows. When you're kind of doing it forced, and it shows as well, is that this that's why there's so many influencers or things that people say like, this is so fake, like you just did it for the content or something.
Yeah, actually, that like thing is very interesting. I follow this one musician on Instagram, and he makes like small, like sort of like songs from random, like random sounds kind of thing. And he was talking about how long it takes to like get people to follow. And you're saying there's like a three, something along the lines of like a three post rule. So, for example, like if you see someone's reel for the first time who you don't follow, like you
Yeah.
may watch it, you may like it, but you won't necessarily press like. But if you see it, if you see a second reel immediately and it's good, then you may like it, but you won't follow. And if you see a third reel which is pretty good, then you'll probably be like, oh, this is a good page, I really like it, and I'll follow. So you mentioned there's
Yeah,
like a
that's
three.
actually really interesting
Yeah.
statistics, and like that's actually really true. I think because the good thing with social media or anything, you can always relate to yourself or what the people around you, like in the sense of, would I like to watch this? Or say, example, when you're marketing something or your own brand, say, um, you can always ask yourself or the people around you, because everyone is on social media around you, like your peers, your colleagues, your friends. You can always be like, would I watch this, or is it fun for me to watch? Because then you'll always be like, no, I don't like this. You can be like, okay, so what can I change for me to also like this? Even if it's the most random thing that may not interest you as someone. But then you kind of have to, you don't, of course, have to get everyone to like your thing, even whether they, as example, it's a car company, and they're like, oh, girls, or women will just scroll past through. Or for you guys, if it's beauty, you might not watch it, but then sometimes you just have to think like, how do I make it interesting where even someone who's not interested in my niche will want to watch this?
Janki, one thing I want to ask you is, what are some of the risks with this type of marketing? And it's a bit of a vague question, but like it could include, being sued by companies. I guess you can call that a risk. Just off the top of your head, from your experience.
Risks, I think Uh, I don't know if it comes as risks, but of course there's the negative side of social media where you might not have covered some of some I don't know how to term it, but like it could be where, you know, tone deaf kind of situations, right? Like where you might not read the audience right, or you might have marketed something too much in a bad time. Um, so I think a lot of people will learn now. There's sometimes, you know, you could come off as racist or sexist in some things where you don't realize it. Like, it's just an example. Like I would say is, you know, sometimes when you see brands and they would just have marketed something, or they would have done a campaign or something, and then it turns out that that was actually really badly done, or you know that the campaign didn't do well because not for me, because here within my brands we don't really have campaigns or stuff, but in the sense of if you just look at social media and the outer bigger brands or things like that, there's always stuff where a campaign will go wrong. um just because you either gave a message really badly, or it came off as really, you know, say racist or sexist, or there's those things where people will just be like, that's not right. So there's been a lot of things where that goes, but then I think what now people say is just own it and just like apologize if you did do something that you didn't know was going to affect people. um like I know, like I've been seeing right now, like a lot of Indian brands, especially with what's going on right now, they're all like trying to stop their market. As much as it hurts you as a business, they're just like, we're not going to you know, promote this product or our launch right now, because just reading with the time, like reading the room. And sometimes it'll just feel wrong to do something because it's like that's not what people want to see right now. So I think I know it doesn't really answer in the sense of risks, but ev- people can be really sensitive, and the social media world is sensitive. So you have to be really careful about what you're marketing and how you're marketing it, and to who, especially because you could, you know, leave out a certain ethnicity or religion or something, and you have to be so careful about how you would market it and not offend. I think it's a lot of, it's more on social media, it's about offending people or groups or communities where you have to make sure you don't offend them. Like I this was a huge thing, and it's still kind of going on in the sense of where I don't know, I don't want to offend anyone again, but where like white people started wearing Indian clothing, and they, I don't know if you guys must have seen it or maybe not. um they started wearing like Indian style clothing and then calling it their style. So of course the Indian community worldwide, globally, went crazy because they're like, you, that's our, that comes from us, and then you taking that away from us and labeling it as your style. Give credit where it's due, you know. So those kind of things, it's like you have to be so careful about what you can market out there, or you know, take content off, and then actually end up offending a community, which can really turn out to be really bad.
Yeah. Also, the thing is, like as you said, like people get really offended very quickly, but I also realize that people have sort of very short-term memories. So you can be cancelled one day, and then suddenly the next day, you can do something
Someone
good,
else
and
is
everyone
canceled.
forgets. Yeah, someone else is cancelled, and then you're suddenly fine.
Yeah,
Especially
that's
with a
the
lot of
thing as well.
influencers or even brands, like people don't remember essentially.
Yeah, we don't, and it's maybe even a scary world that we're going into, but we really are moving to quick things where one day we'll remember it, it'll stay on for a bit, and then it'll go away, which is why I think, especially when it was a lot of huge things, and Like when it comes to really, really important things, people would really keep trying to make it like this is not just a, 1 week campaign, or example like the Black Lives Matter thing, everyone posted, everyone did it, and then done. Like so many people, so a lot of the people would be trying to say like this is not just a 1 week thing that we're trying to push. This is a forever thing. And I think with Instagram it gets into that thing where it's only trending. That's why it's like this is not something that, some matters are not supposed to be trending matters. They're supposed to be long term things that you should be talking about, but then people just do it for a bit and then it's gone. Like we forget or we move on, or we worry about what's next now and what the next thing is. And then there's people who are still, and it works in both ways. Sometimes when people do really bad things and they get canceled, and then 1 month later they're back on social media with their things, and people are like, you were really bad, like why are you trending again or something, or how are you still getting these likes? And then there's, and sometimes it's in like other matters where it's like, this, what happened to this thing? It was on my social media feed for like 2 weeks and now I don't see anything about it at all. So it really, it's so mixed, 'cause the whole thing of, forgetting, I guess, where we say we really forget, and we have short-term memories, especially on social media, where we'll just forget, yeah, that this was a thing. 2 months later we're more focused. And I guess again that's where trends come in, and that's where people are doing what is in that time, or what is trending in that time. So things from before just get gone, like.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, speaking of trending, I mean, what would you say at the moment, as of May 2025? What is trending at the moment? Let's say like you're a brand. What, I know usually you would be paid for this sort of advice, but if you could, maybe share
Guys, I better
a,
expect
a few tidbits.
a payment. What can I say? A month of payment to my thing at the end of the. No,
Like
I'm
We'll
joking.
send
even me
you
and Rishi,
a we'll send you a food basket. Keep healthy nowadays.
yeah, even me and Rishi don't get paid for this, so unfortunately we don't have money to pay you.
Janky,
I'm
we would appreciate
joking.
some tips as well. Like
Yeah, actually, yeah,
feel free to
that's true.
donate. We lost her. I think the donation scared her
Hello,
away.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it literally was like,
That-
feel free to donate, and then it just like both of you just froze. I'm like, what do they want me to donate?
Uh, but yeah, do you
Um,
have any, like, as in what's trending at the moment?
I think I mentioned this earlier, but it's just that thing of now where um people want to see things that they can relate to on social media. It's like, if it seems unreachable, unachievable, I won't interact with your post. Like I won't. Okay, there are those instances where things will just go viral or trending, in the sense of, like, I don't know if you saw that guy who did his whole morning routine and he went insanely
Oh
viral
yeah,
for
yeah,
it.
okay. Yeah.
And he was waking up at 4 a.m. doing something, this. But I think he went viral more for the fact that how insane that routine was, in the sense of how unreachable it was. Like he went viral for that, not that, oh, this was so good. Like it was more funny that he did those kind of he did that video. um I mean, but he won because he ended up getting like brand commercials, and he got super famous with it. So there are those one-offs. But if you're say following an influencer, or if you're seeing they're telling you, to, I would maybe say, in terms of diet or exercise, where they're like, oh, you must work out like this much time and you must eat this is, you looking at it in your normal life will be like, I can't do this. Like, I'm going to skip your video. I need someone who can tell me what to eat when I'm working, say 9 to 9 or whatever, and what's a good healthy meal. Like, people want to be able to, you kind of really have to post content that people will be able to relate to and will also find it interesting and be like, yeah, I can do that, or yeah, I want to listen to that, or um yeah, I'm going through this, why I want to listen to it. Say, you'll see someone um talking about burnout, or procrastination or something, you'll be like, yeah, actually, let me watch that. Or even say, I don't even want to talk about just the health side of things, like fashion or things like that. Like even with girls and stuff, now a lot of people would like to watch content creators who are, styling their normal clothes and showing how to do, how to make fun outfits, 5 outfits with one pair of denim jeans. Not like, oh, I got these incredibly beautiful Chanel jeans, because then it's like that's not going to captivate everyone, right? You're only marketing to a certain niche who can afford these Chanel jeans. But then if you just do like how to style 5 denim jeans, I mean, how to style denim jeans in 5 ways, so I'm like, I have a pair of denim jeans I want to watch. um it's a lot of things where you're really trying to make sure that you're following, especially when you don't have a niche. Like if there is those luxury influencers who have that certain niche of luxury people, where they just, people follow them because of their luxury items or things, then yeah, then do that. But if you're someone who's, just a fashion influencer, you don't want to scare away people from not looking at your stuff. um I guess that could be put into any type of influencer or even brands where, and that's the thing as well with brands, when I'm working, you don't want to move away people who will not come to you. Like example, for a spa, let's say, marketing a spa, you're not just like your audience, or whenever you're on Instagram or your social media, you're not just marketing to people who are going to come to your spa. Someone who might not even be in Kenya will see that post. So you sometimes, not that every post has to be relatable to everyone in the world, I'm not saying that, but your page or your brand should be trying to tap into just normal audience. So like for a spa, then you can go into wellness and just sometimes say, why is a massage good for you? Like, not everyone in that spa will not everyone will come to your spa to do it, but it still gave some sort of information. I don't know if that
Yeah,
makes sense, but
no, yeah, that does. That's really interesting. But I mean, one last final question from me is, what's like a social media myth that you think like a lot of us believe, but actually isn't true?
that's a tough one. But okay, especially I think for me, or what I've,
Or like doesn't have to be like
yeah,
brands, but like even like personal, individual, to like grow your followers and stuff like that.
I think for me, or especially like with brands or working, and this again, it came up in our conversation, but having a higher like count or follow count means you're doing better than other people. I think that's a huge myth in social media, because they they they're really great brands or people, or influencers, whoever we're talking about in this sense, that can be having even really low follow count, or but their content is amazing, like they're doing really well. um because like this ties into what you were saying as well, right? People don't follow immediately, or just because you have a great following account doesn't mean you post great content, or vice versa. Just because you don't have great following account doesn't mean you don't have great content. Like sometimes you'll have really people, and that's the thing with social media as well, is people just trying to get their followers to reach a certain level because it was a thing where, like, it does associate with something. When you have this number of followers, it means you're really, wow, this person has 10K followers, wow, this person has 1 million followers. But I think now with the social media world, and this is, I think, a lot to do with brands and content creators or influencers, is where it's like, forget the following number, just forget it. Like, that will come as you keep going. Or you know, and now, and again, the this was another thing with Instagram and things like the whole buying followers as well, because there's people now who have bought followers who can have 10,000 and it's not authentic, it's not real people, it's just bots. And there's someone who has not bought any followers and might have even, say, what, 5K, but their content is actually doing really well. And even if it means in terms of, you know, paid partnerships, or whether you're a brand or whether you're an influencer, like even if you see when now brands giving PR packages, or you know, calling people on, they're not just calling people who are above a certain number of followers. You might see someone who has even 5K of followers in that brand trip, or a brand has got a brand PR package, but there's a certain reason why, because their content is actually doing really well compared to that number. So it's even about that.
Mm. So it's more like the quality as opposed to the
Exactly,
quantity
yeah. And
of the
yeah,
engagement,
so
I
I
guess.
think I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
say that myth, it
Nice.
does fall into myth, meaning like having a certain number of followers does not mean you have great content, or vice versa, right? You could be pushing out really amazing stuff, but your number is not up there, but doesn't mean people are not watching or engaging or something. Because again, now that's the metrics that social media and people are trying to push out, is don't just look at follow count, right? Look at my look at views or likes or insights. I guess when you're a business and stuff, you look at how many people watched your post, because not every watch turns into a like. But the fact that your post is reaching out to these many people, and that's why with social media, there's a ton of metrics that you can look at to see how your brand is performing or how your post is performing. It's not just because like follow count means something. There's a lot more deeper into that.
Yeah,
Man, that's
yeah.
actually that's
Nice,
really
nice.
good.
Yeah,
Um,
nice,
but
amazing.
I
Yeah, I
think
mean that's I think that was it from my side. I think Rishi, I think we can go on to the rapid fire.
yeah, yeah. Janki, this time for you, I've just got three questions, but very curious on these answers because of the type of job and person you are. You know, so
I'm
uh,
nervous.
where is it? 1 second. Something simple. What's a hobby you have outside of work? Because this hobby turned into work.
Ah, good one.
Um, Photography.
Photography.
Do I
Okay,
have to
that's a nice one.
do like a one word answer, or do you want me to like go into?
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
up to you. Up to you.
yeah. I mean, but it would be like a
Yeah,
quick
quick
answer
fire. So yeah,
doesn't mean it's rapid
photography.
fire, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, nice. That's a good one. That's a good one. All right. If you could have any one superpower, what would you want to have and why?
Oof, that's a hard one. One superpower. I think to be able to work like for 8 to 8 p.m. I would get so much shit done.
Wow,
What?
wow,
What?
that's a
I mean,
wow,
you can
that's
do
a
that.
new one.
It is a choice, though.
That's a
You
new,
can, okay, fine.
that's a new one.
Oh, that's an interesting answer,
I
but it's
think
okay.
for me,
Well,
that's a
we'll allow it.
superpower these
All right.
days.
Okay. Okay. That's all right. And the last question, a bit of a deep one. How do you handle failures slash setbacks?
Oof, that is a deep one. I don't think I deal with them well. I think it really sets me back. Um, but then a thing I have to keep telling myself is just it's fine. It wouldn't matter in a couple of days, right? Like whenever that failure happens or whatever, just a way to move on and go back to is just that it's not going to matter in the next week even or so. Like you move on, you'll do something and you'll be better at it, or especially if it's like a mistake or something, then I just tell myself it's fine. Like I will be really upset about it for the first few days, and then I have to tell myself it's fine, it's not going to matter. Even if you look back at it 1 month ago, you will not remember it.
Nice, nice, nice. I think okay, like today we're a bit short on time, but your answers have been actually hella interesting.
Yeah,
I'm a bit
But
yeah.
I'm
from
a
my
bit
side,
worried about that superpower, and I'm trying to think of any other superpower.
don't worry.
No,
You'll get you 8 to 8 one day. Be it PM to AM,
yeah.
it's fine. One or the
No,
other.
it was good
But
because it was unique.
I
That's
don't
why.
I don't
So
mean
it is
like I
unique.
want to
yeah,
work
yeah.
8 a.m. to 8 p.m. I just mean the amount of work that I would be able to do.
Like,
I would love to be able to do that in the time that, like, I think I just want to be really, like, what do you say, proactive or something. I guess that's
fair
like
enough.
having
Fair
a
enough.
amazing brain.
but
Nice.
That's a superpower. I would want that.
no, no, it's been good. But
Yeah,
Janky,
yeah.
thank you so much. It's been very insightful. Let me hand over to honorary Raju.
Yeah, Janki, yeah, thanks for coming on and sharing all the teas with us. Hope you enjoyed
No,
it as
thank
well.
you guys. It's been so good, and hats off to you guys. I'm so like amazed at you guys doing this podcast, and it's really cool. Like I do listen to your stuff, also the previous ones, and yeah, I think it's just really cool, and I feel proud as well to say, oh, my friend, like yesterday I was like, oh, I'm going on a podcast. And it's like, yeah, my friends have started a podcast. It's really cool to say that. And hats off to you guys, and keep doing it, keep it up, and it's really really nice what you guys are doing.
Nice, amazing, amazing. Yeah, thank you for coming on, and to everyone listening, hope you guys enjoyed it. You can follow Janki on her social media. You can see all the amazing social media stuff that she does. And yeah, if you enjoyed it, give it a like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.